Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
From the oval back to normal racing, surrounded by greenery, we go again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Summit Point Jefferson, or welcome to the TGR Nation Grand V Series. I am Alexa Marshall, joined this week by Ashley Deanman, and we've got Jin Cunningham bringing you all the camera action in the background this week. It's going to be a good one. Welcome to the box, Ashley. And these Formula Vs, these have been an absolute sight to see last week, especially at the Oval. But now, back to surrounded by greenery, no tarmac runoff. We're definitely looking for a good race tonight.
Yeah, certainly are. I think you mentioned it earlier to me when we were speaking before the broadcast. It's sort of a go-kart-esque circuit. And I also want to give you kudos straight out the box here, Alexa. I've never been called a demon in my life, but I will take it nonetheless. So here we go. I'm really looking forward to this one. I've been a few months off. I'm finally back, raring to go. And Formula Vs are definitely going to be an exciting race to see how it unfolds.
And we'll be honest about this, one of the things that we are looking at here is going to be coming into this race. Mark Schweening had an absolute shocker last week, a big change from pace. Same with Zach Rattray-White. So they're going to be looking for retribution going into this week. Going through the drivers here in free practice as it does currently stand with as the timer does tick down. Rattray-White leads, followed by Borgstrud and then Kristen Flang. We've got plenty of other drivers throughout the grid. A little bit of a smaller grid than usual. At the start of the season we were looking at about 30 drivers. We've got 20 drivers on the grid tonight. And we are about to have qualifying come our way very, very shortly. And of course, they've only got 3 laps to do it.
Yeah, not much, on the plate really when getting that done. But 10 minutes, they've got plenty of time to get around. I think pole position, we're looking at about a low 54-second mark. So they've definitely got enough time to do it nonetheless. And it is a small circuit. I think when I looked at my notes earlier on, the length of it in total is about 1 mile long, obviously a little bit further in kilometres. But yeah, not far to go around here. So we should see them done pretty sharpish.
As we do get information as well, thank you TGR Nation for this. This track only holds 20, so we are at max capacity for this circuit. So that's actually a very interesting factor about this. So it's only 20 drivers, but with the length of this circuit, like you stated, you can only imagine how quickly this qualifying is going to be as well, because 20 drivers, only 3 valid laps, which are allowed. This is definitely going to be an interesting night tonight, especially from last week at the Oval with I will be nice about it, the amount of chaos that we saw last week.
I could only imagine on an oval how that went, particularly in these cars. They love slipstream, of course, no aerodynamic downforce on them, so all the grip is mechanical. When they fire their way into a corner, of course, that weight transfer really pivots forward, and you can see the rears getting loose rather easy. So if they're not, massive on the power, only 69 horsepower from the naturally air-cooled 4-cylinder Volkswagen engine. But yeah, if you get too hard on the brakes into a sharp corner, you can really see the rear slip out from underneath you. So that's going to be crucial. And momentum is always key. So I can imagine around an oval circuit, that must have been quite something to behold.
Oh, it was quite a sight, but another sight we're watching right now is Alexander Borgsrud as he is making his way around this circuit for a qualifying lap right now. We'll see what he can do. As you see on the bottom of your screen and the timing and the timing. If you don't know how it works, we'll walk it through for you real quick. If it is green, it's a personal fastest. Yellow is no improvement. And purple is overall fastest as Blake Babson goes to the top. But that's going to be Borgsrud who quickly dethrones him. Michael Thiessen also there. We're looking at under 1 minute lap times with Nick Marshall going P number 4. Martin Visser goes P number 3. Now P number 4 is Leo Brongers goes P number 2. Matthias Marin goes P number there. But now putting all the way down as all these lap times are coming in thick and fast here.
Yeah, we're only in the 55 second. I saw earlier they were definitely in the 54, so keep an eye on that leaderboard, because there certainly still should be some improvements coming through, but potentially track conditions have changed slightly from the practice session. We've got a 18-degree air temp and 22-degree track temp. So really, when I look at it from a racing perspective, that's kind of ideal conditions on this sunny afternoon we have here at Summit Point, the Jefferson circuit, of course, as we mentioned earlier. So really and truthfully, their tyres should be, once they've gone around that first lap, really up to temperature, and they should be able to bang in a real quick second one.
Well, you got to get him optimal, but one man who seems to have done that is the American driver of Christian Flank. He's gone to the top now, putting Borgsrud down into P number 2. 55.172 is the current fastest lap time. So, like you were saying, the 54s are a high possibility here. Of course, though, you're only able to set 3 lap times, which are classified in this qualifying session. So the question is now, as we approach the 4 minute into qualifying mark, is there going to be some people who are going to be waiting till the very end to go out onto the circuit and get their lap times in? But it doesn't seem like it, because everybody seems to be out on the circuit. 16 drivers have set classified laps. 4 drivers yet to do so, that being Rattray White, Toastes, Schweening and Andrew James.
I mean, why not wait to the end? You can see what the time is you've got to beat, especially if you're looking at the sharp end of things here. So you can really get a good foundation of what you need to achieve and know a bit more about where you can attack, where you can save a little bit of extra time. I mean, the circuit we've got here this evening at Jefferson, I mean, it's not really any sharp hairpin turns when I look at it on sort of a track map. The one real sharpish turn I look at, potentially turn 1 after the start-finish straight, and maybe the final corner of turn 9 a little bit sharper than some of the others, but it's all part of an S section there, so it should be pretty much fast as you like, or as fast as you can take it around with these Formula Vs. But certainly going to be interesting to see who comes out on top here in qualifying. We've just hit the halfway mark, so plenty of time still on the board to go.
Yeah, and the variation around here does make it monumental. You got a few drivers who have set their 3 lap times now. Rodrigo Tostes coming onto his final one. Todd going into his one as well. Rob Wright has set his 3rd lap time now, and they are all making their way through the circuit. And this is one of the things I like about this series as well. We've got so much variation going around these tracks, because it may not seem like it, but I'm getting a bit of deja vu from real life, because even though we are based in Britain, this is a different circuit, but it looks very similar to my local bike circuit.
Which one would that be? Go on, please do tell.
I would rather not dox myself. And
Okay.
there we go. And it is going to be all to play for. And the question is, are we going to get any more drivers coming through? Or is that going to be it? As you hear, there is a few. I can hear a car going around somewhere. As it is an absolute greenery. I heard a car for a moment. But we're just having a nice little look at this circuit right now. There's a car going around. But this is one of the things that I'm looking at here. Is the amount of greenery around this circuit, because we know these Formula Vs, if they end up spinning, they will just spin on the axis. They will basically stay in the exact spot where they spun, as that is going to be Zach Rattray White, who goes to the top 1 minute. That's going to be a 54.9. We're in the 54s now, and it is looking thick and fast.
Can tell you're used to longer circuits there, Alex. Had another. The Norwegian back to the top by 200ths of a second, just clipping him right there towards the end. Brilliant stuff here. Nothing separating them.
I'm so used to my longer circuits. Okay, don't judge me. But this is the thing. These shorter circuits, it makes for absolutely amazing action because you're going so thick and fast around these laps. Like, gotta give props to these drivers as well. Although they gotta be careful in case muscle memory kicks in. However, another thing about this circuit which you gotta think about as well, because it's so short. Where is your overtaking opportunities going to be, and how is the slipstream going to come into effect?
Well, I mean, slipstream effect, when we're looking at a track map, we saw it earlier on at the start of the stream and the broadcast. You know, you got straight down towards turn number 1, you've got the long start finish there, you can see it on the right as well. And then after you've exited turn 2 through sort of the little pink here, that will be the left-hander of 3, you got another long straight and into another heavy braking zone. I think those are going to be your best opportunities in terms of using the slipstream, utilising your technique under braking. But equally, you can see there, a lot of momentum being carried through. It's really going to be difficult to try and find that space. So maybe then, even towards the top half of the circuit here, sort of through the turns 4 and 5, and this particular part of it, a bit more of a hairpin, maybe a chance to go side by side.
Yeah, well, I'm going to throw it to an incident I saw, which could very much be possible here. I was doing a Donington, and there is a few corners, especially this one here. If you're side by side with somebody, and one of you ends up going wide, what happens if 2 of your tyres end up on the grass? Because, yes, you may be able to hold it, but if you lose the traction and your car starts spinning, you could very much go into another driver. So I've seen incidents like that before at other circuits. And just looking at the amount of grass around here, there is a very high possibility we could get something like that tonight. However, fingers crossed that we don't.
The one thing I would, bring up with that though is if you do hit the grass, with this clockwise circuit, a lot of the corners, the big corners I'm looking at, they are a right-hander. So you should go off and go off in a way such that you shouldn't really come into more contact with other drivers. The only part I'm looking at where that might not be the case is sort of here at the final corner and potentially through the S's there in that sort of final sector of the circuit. But you're quite right, Alexa. It's certainly going to be something to keep an eye on. The short answer, I think, to your question would be, well, you're going to lose traction, of course, and then that is going to bring in a whole host of issues.
We look to go again. Andrew James now making his way through. And this is going to be the last driver out on the circuit, going to go to the line here at Summit, and he is going to stay in P number 13 for the time being. Maybe unlucky for some, because it's a good old unlucky number, but who knows, maybe, especially in racing, because you never know what happens, it could be the lucky one tonight, Ashley.
Could be. I mean, I'm fairly new to the series myself here, Alexa, so I'm sure you can keep me up to speed with all of the drivers, what their doings have been, and what is the likely outcome here, because, yeah, it's certainly in a position there to make a lot from the start, and I think particularly through that long turn number 1 and 2, they sort of join on together. It's going to be really interesting to see cars going side by side after they've got off the starting grid.
Checker flag falls for qualifying, and the race is about to come your way. It's going to get very, very interesting, and the drivers will end up on the grid ready and raring to go. Ashley, I shall give you the honours, seems as this is your first one. You could take us through the grid order for this.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you ever so much, Alexa. Well, pole position goes to the Norwegian Alexander Borgestrud, and then second alongside him from the other side of the world, Zach Rataway White. Christian Flagg will be third from the US, and Rob White from Canada. He's going to be lining up fourth, with Todd Going, also from the US, and keeping him company there in sixth is Sean Kopinski. We then got Khan from the UK, Tostes, Brazilian, Bradley, another US person from the USA, I believe, in 9th, and then Schweining in 15th. Brongers is 11th with Pullen in 12th, and as we make our way further down the grid, back half of things now, we've got James in 13th with Thiessen in 14th. Dembowski is going to be lining up 15th with Marin keeping him company alongside. Visser is 17th with the Irishman of Hanley on the row there in 18th with Babson 19th, and finishing off the grid is Nick Marshall.
It is no gantry, it's green flag straight away, and we are racing. Gonna be an absolutely amazing start there for Bradley already getting in position. Matthias Marin making his way past James as well. Big, looks like a car off in the background, possibly as a few drivers drop down, but maybe just a bad line off the blocks. Borgestrud leads, followed by Zach Rataway White, then Christian Flagg. Rob Wright also there. Seemingly nice and square for the time being, as Toasters gets past Schweining further back. Pulling gets past Schweining. Fisa gets past Schweining. Schweining has seemingly had an issue. Up in the lead, though, you do have Zach Rataway White versus Alexander Borgestrud. And it is going to be where this will stand. What has happened to Schweining, though? Because he definitely had a moment in the back.
He certainly has done. It could have been a bit of contact with Brongers. He was the one we saw spinning around through turn 1 and 2. He's dropped right the way to the back of this field as they fan out now for the first time down the start-finish straight. Car off in the background there, the orange, trying to work out who that is. It could be Mark Visser.
So it seems like it may be as Martin Visser makes his way through. Borgestrud still late's not going to last long, though, as here comes Zach Rataway White trying to get alongside. This is such racing that you'll love to see. Already down into these braking zones, trying to hold onto the line, wheel to wheel, side by side. Gonna hold onto it for the time being. Zach Rataway White, though, takes the lead here at the summit. All the way through this park, though, and now into the racing again, as that's going to be Borgestrud versus Christian Flagg. You've also got all over the place. It's wheel to wheel, side by side. We ride on board with Rob Wright. We're getting a front row seat to this.
Borgestrud needs to get this under control now. He's bleeding at the moment. 2 cars have gone through. We saw him out of position there towards the back end of this circuit. That's what allowed Christian Flagg to make the move on him. Let's see if he can fight back now and regain a position potentially, as all the cars darting into the slipstream of the one in front, trying to gain any advantage in total speed down that straight. Into turn 1 and 2 they go.
Now, it seems like the S's may be a bit tricky, as they do fan out a little bit in the timing tower. So is the S's causing issues with maybe a little bit of dirty air undulating the car? We'll wait and see. But Rataway White, like he has this season when he gets the chance, starting to fly ahead. He has been on an absolute roll. Schweining has had bad luck in the last 2 races. He wants to go for retribution tonight, but he's down in 13th at the moment, and he's now going to have all these opportunities. Martin Visser getting past Neil Hanley further back between P16 and 17. Mark Schweining getting up into P number 12 past Michael Thiessen.
Yeah, that was Gabinski. We saw a brief moment there on the back of Wright for 4th place. They're looking quite toasty together there as they make their way down the start-finish straight. Rataway White trying to break the slipstream effect down on the run to turn 1. He really is trying to pull away, as Christian Flagg has now set the fastest lap of the race so far, 55.106. But everybody in that sort of top 5 or 7 even, looking at it, they're all pretty close together.
To the back of the start of the race, and this is what is happening to Mark Schweining. So he's on the outside here, going wheel to wheel for a moment there, goes very wide, and that is just way too much overspeed. Luckily enough, avoiding the trees. That could have ended very, very badly there, Ashley.
Tell you what, that was some serious car control to get on the grass and not completely lose it. Really impressive stuff there from Schweining, and did well to wrestle it back onto the circuit, as I think this is the final corner from that first lap. You can see how closely they are bunched together. I think this could be the move that was for the lead at the time, but maybe we'll come back to that in a moment. Oh, we're still on. Never mind. Let's have a look then. Side-by-side action out of turn number 2. Now coming up to the kink of 3. You can see their flag was getting involved as well quite early on. But this is Ray-Trey White's move for P number 1. He's on the inside, down at the end of that second part of the straight. And, well, Borgstrud really didn't have an answer to that one. Had nowhere else to go.
Yeah, nowhere else to go. And he gets overtaken a little bit as we do have a little bit of production truck going on for a moment. So we will continue talking here, Ashley, as it does seem like the racing is getting very interested around this circuit. But let's go through this. We're at the 5-minute mark. What do we think it's looked like so far in this race? Personally, I would say Rattray has had an absolutely amazing start to this.
Had the ideal start. I mean, he couldn't have wanted more. He's got into the lead now. He's going to try and break that toe from behind. You can see here his start all over once again, still going forward with it. But he's just going to look to try and consolidate that lead now and just pull away. And if he can do that, fantastic stuff for him. As I can see, our timing tower is back up. The gap is about a second. You can see there on the screen now as well, I believe. And that should be enough then to reduce that slipstream effect when they come onto these straights down towards turn 1 and towards turn 4. And so hopefully he can now begin a bit more of a charge.
Yeah, further down, like you said, Mark Schweening getting past Matthias Marin. It looks like everybody is settling into their positions, though. Looking at the gaps between drivers, it's varying from about 0.3 per driver to about 1.1. So that is throughout the entire grid between each driver. It does seem a little bit unlucky for Babson, as Borgstrud seemingly getting past Christopher Flagg on the timing tower. They seem to be flip-flopping for the time being at the current moment. So they're holding on to it for pretty well at the moment, and the top 3 has been pretty solid. But Sean Gapinski getting past Rob Wright. This is the thing which I will say from watching this season: do not count Gapinski out, because when it is his day and he is in the groove of it, he could be absolutely deadly out there on the circuit.
Well, no doubt about it, I'm sure. The other thing you have to really think about with the iRacing platform is tyre wear is still going to be a thing for these guys. It's not like these sort of more arcadey sims. This is a full-on simulator when it comes to racing. So you have to look after your car as if it was a real thing. Making sure you're not overdoing it on the tyres and completely shredding them. And so later on in this race, you could see a bit more of a fight back from some of these guys, or particularly as the fuel comes out of the car, it lightens it. Maybe some of the others able to find that extra bit of speed when that happens and then gain an advantage there in that respect. But yeah, look at that. Using the grass there is Sully Khan on the exit of turn number 4, really trying to gain some momentum over Tostes now as they battle for P number 7. Schweening now has also made up another spot. He's gained back to 10th place. As I look further down, Brongers, he's up to 17th after dropping right to the back of the field as well. And this is now the chance for Khan down towards turn number 1 in the slipstream of Tostes. Can he do it under braking? Not this time, not a way through there. Too much speed and momentum being carried around that point of the circuit. Let's see what he could do now then on the second straight as they make their way towards turn number 4. As you can see, the triple car, in front of them going through as well, shot their nose to tail with each other. Maybe some moves up for grabs here in just a few short moments.
It may be in a few short moments, and we're about to find out. It is all to play for here. Watching Rob Wright right in the thick of it, all over the place. Gapinski, right, going all into this. And now this is what you'll love to see when it comes to racing action, such as this in the Formula Vs. As we approach the 1/3 mark, the 10-minute mark, it is going to be Rattray White who leads, followed by Borgstrud, then Christian Flagg. Don't know why it took me so long to say a singular name. As you see the pace car there, thankfully we won't see that out tonight. I think we saw enough of that last week at the Oval. But now, around this circuit, you have so many fights. As you got Boo Bear, Bradley making his way through here. You got Brad, you got Marin as well, all up against them. Schweening is under attack here, down the back parts of this circuit as Rob Wright gets past Kapinski. Todd Going gets past Kapinski further ahead. And that is all to play for them as well. It is absolutely astounding here tonight. Onto the grass goes Bradley. trying to find the space, but absolutely nowhere to go, Ashley.
No, it certainly isn't. Look at him rotate that car into the apex of the corner. I think did it slightly too early, and therefore Sweeney's going to get the better exit here. Through the S's now they go, round the final corner and onto the back straight. Was that a small bit of contact from Marin behind? I don't quite know. Just looked like there was a little bit of something there. But either way, Bradley, what a monster straight this is for him. Down the inside of Sweeney, under heavy braking, and just like that, well, I would call that a textbook overtake.
Textbook overtake, get in the slipstream and then send it down the inside. Classic Daniel Ricciardo-esque late breakers of all generations. But now it's not going to give it up yet. Mark Schweening is going to try fight back. Going to go down the inside. Matthias Marin with a front row seat and going on to Blue Bear goes off. Big moment for him into the hill as well. That was an absolutely massive moment as the P&G trees apparently just make your ghost through them.
What just happened there? Completely lost it. This is the move for Borgstrad as well. Down the inside of Christian Flag into turn one. Actually, I think he's trying to defend that position still, but hanging on to it for the moment. Rob Bright has come right back into this looking at it. He's fourth, and he's right behind this duo for P2 and P3. Do not count him out. And you can see there, that 3 car behind is now becoming a 5-car battle. As we just saw Bradley Boobear, or Boobear Bradley, I should say. I love the nicknames. I'd love to see more character from these drivers. Brilliant stuff. But yeah, getting it all sorts of wrong on exit.
Yeah, we've seen the replay here. This is what happens. Now into it. We get the aerial shot from the helicam. Absolutely amazing helicopter pilot. Gonna hold onto it. Goes through the corner. Hits the curb on the inside. That just makes the car understeery and it makes it not want to work. Onto the grass. Loses the traction on the left-hand side of the car. Spins it round and into the hill. Thankfully, I will say this, the trees are P&G in game, not so thick like in real life.
Certainly not. I mean, fair play to him again, though, there, because we're going to get a different angle of it here, hopefully. Like I gave praise to Mark Schweening just a moment ago when he had his moment off. Bradley here, he gets it wrong. He's admitted the mistake, but car control here to not completely lose it and still get back on the circuit facing in the right direction. Brilliant stuff from Alex there. Really well done.
You want your oval-esque moves. There's one because he just used the banking of the hill. But right now you're going to be watching this as well. You got all these drivers fighting against each other. Watching Rob Wright. He's got Kapinski going, Toasted and Khan all behind him in this train, all aboard the Rob Wright Express because it is all to play for. I tried to think of a Canadian Express train, but it ended up not coming to mind. As we go on to lap number 15 here. The Polar.
Think of any? Yeah, I can't think of any. Potentially the Polar one. I mean, it's far north enough, isn't it?
Yeah, it is far north enough. I mean, it constantly snows in Canada, doesn't it?
Certainly does. As far as I can tell from TV and movies, they don't seem to generate sunshine, but I'm sure they do, even on some wintry days. But another chap, who's that off though? Who is that off?
That is a good question. Watching this, nobody's dropping down at the timing tower, so I am trying to figure out who that was.
Maybe Nick Marshall. Try and find out. Oh, and round they go again. They've come back on. Hold the brakes. Wow, look at that. It is
Dombrowski. So, got confirmation. It is Dombrowski, P number 19 at the moment. That's incredibly unfortunate what is happening here.
Do not know what has gone on there for Dombrowski. It's a real shame, though. He looks as though he was in a nice little battle earlier on in this race. While we just got a small pause here in the action, big thanks to Joseph Anderson for subscribing. And hello, Brendan. Lovely to have you here on, I'm sure, morning for you, but afternoon for us. Either way, welcome everybody in the chat. Hope you're all enjoying yourselves.
It is now the racing action. If you're just tuning in, this is the TGR Nation Grand V Series here on Apex Racing TV. Of course, a big thank you to Sambo to Sambo, iRacing and Lutsu, driver performance for their support of the series. We had the admins talk. We had a few of them coming in earlier on this season and talk about what they do. Great to see so many people supporting these series. Now down the main straight though, you've got to have Sean Gopinski trying to replicate the move that we saw earlier on down at turn number 1. Yet no move done there for the time being, and it is all over the place. But the question is, what I'm finding now, it seems to be the main straight where drivers are only really getting slipstream, because the S's, are they causing an issue for sticking in the toe?
Potentially, it's going to cause a little bit of an upset. I mean, I mentioned earlier, there's no downforce on these cars. You can see that they are little bullets on wheels pretty much. So it's all mechanical grip and skill and tenacity, particularly when you come through this part of the circuit, the S's. But I mean, you know, when you get into the heavy braking zone, this corner in particular, turn 9, you know, there's a concertina effect there, Alexa. So what will happen is when they slow the car down, it might not look it, but they will slow up, you know, slightly earlier than maybe they would like to, so that they don't hit the car in front. And then that, when you bring it back out onto the straight, it opens it up a little bit again. So it probably feels like nothing's really happening. And I think, yeah, you're right. The second straight here that they're about to go through now is probably where you're going to make up more of your time.
Yeah, so we go through this one more time. You got Matthias Marin now going on the back of Mark Schweening. These two have been fighting this entire race as we're at the halfway mark now. So it's all over the place, and we can confirm there is some support for Babson in the chat. So it's great to see that all these drivers definitely have a few little fan clubs, as here comes Matthias Marin on Mark Schweening.
Here we go again. Something's happened further up. All cars off.
That is Paulin and Rob Wright, Gopinski as well, as it seems like that's what's happened there. So in fact, no, it looks like it's Rob Wright who's had a moment. So was there contact between the two? Because the way I was looking at it, both Gopinski and Wright dropped down the timing tower.
Find out what's going on here. That's a car round. That, I think, is going to be Dembowski from earlier, wasn't it? It looks similar. So round he goes, returning onto the circuit, nice and safely, fair play. And I'd love to know what happened there, what we just saw, Alexa. Let's see if we can find out.
Yeah, it looks like we're going through this now. Well, this is Andrew James earlier on. So, big slide up, goes into the corner, rear end slides out, and around it goes, half on grass, half on tarmac. As, there is 2 more cars flying by. So that is what has happened. Seems like we may not be able to see that as we're catching everybody else. But now back to the live racing action. This is what's happening here. So Rob Wright was higher up, but now he's got to be careful because he's got Matthias Marin and Mark Schweening on the back of him.
Had a bit of a disaster few laps here as we're a bit over the halfway mark now. Can't quite believe how quickly this is flying by, but it certainly is going fast as all of these drivers out here are doing their best to do that as well. As this is the gap for P2, Borgström still in the leading position there in P2 as Christian Flagg chasing him for P3. There is absolutely nothing separating these two at the moment. There's another car off there as they make their way round turn, I believe it's at a 6 onto the start of the S's. Here's a nice good onboard view then from Flagg's car.
A very dirty camera from what we're seeing about all the dirt, as you can see on the car ahead, being kicked up as they try and push these cars to the absolute limit of the circuits. The revs go up into 4th gear, maybe looks for a move down the inside, but nothing for the time being. Passing the pace car that we are not going to see tonight, apart from it being sat in the pit lane, being nice and pretty. But now you head into these corners, you see how the track comes up as well on the curb, so trying to use these corners to their absolute maximum. We're nearly 20 laps deep into this, and with these just under 1 minute lap times, and now all over the back trying to push it, and it seems like it is Alexander Borgström who's trying to push it even more. However, I will say this, Rully Khan has just got past Todd Going.
This is brilliant from Khan now. He's just on the up and up into 4th position currently. And Going now starting to find the Going a little bit tougher. But either way, 5th position still a good spot for him, so it shouldn't give up on that one, that's for sure. Tostes not far out of this either. I'm just going to come back a little bit here, Alexa, to Christian Flagg as we jump back on board with them as we speak. just watching them through the first few corners there, as we had the onboard camera, just the smoothness of the driving style from Christian, really impressive stuff from him there. And yeah, I think he is clearly making Borgstrud sweat a little bit in that cockpit, because he does seem to be trying to push the life out of it.
I mean, we've seen in a few corners, the car's been off the circuit, onto the inside now, using that curb. It seems like they opt for different lines there. Borgstrud seems to like take a more outside line and use the outside to its advantage, while Christian Flag chooses the inside. Nice run now, going to be going into these corners, but trying to hold on to it in the toe as well. However, it's getting a little bit more tricky trying to figure out where the braking point's going to be. All over the place now, as a lapped car does move out the way, tries to hop in the toe, will opt for the right hand side instead. Does not want to get involved in that bit. Up in a fourth gear, possibly fifth, but no, he's staying fourth and down into the braking zone, down to third. It seems like third and fourth are the only gears that we're really using around here.
It's definitely that will come down to the engine configuration as well there, Alexa. Third, fourth gear is pretty much all you're going to see from these cars. If you're dropping it into second, the amount of revs it's going to kick up, you're likely to lock the rear axle, and that's just going to be you're going to be in for a world of hurt if that happens, facing all sorts of wrong ways. But at the moment, yeah, definitely pair of them managing it well. Borgstrud really doing great on the defensive driving, and Flag just biding his time here. If I am a betting man, I would actually, I'm going to put this one on Flag, simply because looking at the driving style here, it's smooth, it's precise, and it's very, very clean. And I think he really is applying the pressure here to Borgstrud. He's just waiting for the chance to pounce.
It's what we get now, what I call the basketball camera. Good old, if you remember when the Halo was first introduced in it. What a big for Alexander Borgstrud. Definitely feeling the pressure now as you saw into turn number one, and this is getting very interesting around here. And now it seems like the camera's cleared up a bit.
Certainly looks that way. A few other drivers out there close to each other in circle. We've got Karnen going, they're one behind the other. We've got Kapinski and Wright, Marin and Schweining. I think Marin's actually just got past Schweining on that start-finish straight, and Thiessen is not far behind Bradley either, so certainly a few battles to keep an eye on here. We jump to Schweining as Marin has just gone past Mark from Germany. As they make their way round the back part of the circuit, let's see what the German can do to make that position back and get inside that top 10 once again.
To find out, this is all over the place for these guys. They've been battling this entire race. As we are now 20 minutes in, that is a car off. It is Zach Ratchet White who leads, followed by Alexander Borgstrud. Christian Flag rounds out the podium. Then Kong going, Toasters, Paulin, Kapinski, Wright, and then Marin rounds out the top 10. It's then Schweining, Bradley, Thiessen, Brongers, as Rob Wright gets past Kapinski, Thiessen, Brongers, Hanley, Visser and James, and then you got the rest of the drivers on the timing tower as well. This is amazing racing, but now they're in the final 10 minutes, 1/3 to go. They have got to wonder as Christian Flag gets past Borgstrud up ahead in P number 2 now. How are these drivers, what are they going to be wanting to do in the final 10 minutes? Because you never know with some drivers. Some, personally like me, may opt to go aggressive in the first half, calm it down in the second half. But of course, you got those who will go full send in the final.
I was going to say, for me, it's that final 5 minutes is going to make all the difference. Up until now, you really should have been pacing yourselves, making sure you are in with a chance of striking in that final part of the race. And like these two, you know, they are neck and neck. They have been the entire race. I think both of them know that first place is kind of a bit out of the question, and so therefore they are really battling over these final podium positions. What you don't want, of course, though here, Alexa, is to have contact in the final closing moments, and back markers that you're coming up against are certainly going to be nerve-wracking. Let's hope they jump out the way, as we saw. There's another car even further right there. I think maybe off the circuit, potentially have just had a moment.
Indeed, so it seems like we're seeing a few of those tonight. The greenery definitely starting to claim a little bit. Of course, the tyres are going to be coming into effect now as well. Nice fresh tyres at the start, 30-minute race. Towards the end, they are going to start to feel off a little bit, as in the Formula Vs. But now, down this main straight one more time, tries to hop in the toe. However, are they a bit too far back? That is the question as we go on to lap number 25 now around this circuit, as we get the helicopter cam one more time and passing the greenery all over the place. As, like you said, these two have just been neck and neck with each other. It's like they know each other like the back of their own hands.
It's certainly not a lot separating them. We do have to say an unfortunate goodbye, though, to Alex Bubear Bradley. He is out of this race. We've got Leo Brongers also in the pit. That could potentially be another retirement there. So we have lost at least one, potentially two. But yeah, these two that we can see on screen here, they are not giving each other an inch. Interestingly, though, since Flag has gotten past, I thought he might have darted off down the road a little bit. But Borgstra does seem to be keeping him nicely in check as there he goes onto the grass. This is now Flag's chance. Can he just pull away and keep Borgstrom firmly in the rearview mirror, potentially a bit further back?
Well, that's what you got to hope for. Things like that happen, and it is going to be Borgström who made the mistake first. He will be absolutely kicking himself in that car. He probably had the engineer over the radio going, push, 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 get that position back. So it's going to be an absolute drive now for Borgström as he is closing in that gap. Christian Flag got up to 8/10 of a second, but now it's down to 6. These two are having an absolute skirmish tonight, and it's absolutely wonderful to see.
Yeah, it's brilliant stuff from all of these guys out there. Still battles to keep an eye on. Is going to be Rob Wright and Sean Kopinski. Not a lot separating those guys. I think Ken Pullen is also in that battle, and Matthias Marin and Mark Schweining still very close to each other on the circuit. So battle still happening up and down this field. It really is a sight to behold. The one person we haven't seen a lot of is this chap, Ray Trey White. As soon as he got ahead, he pretty much just left them all for dust, Alexa. And to be honest, that's his perfect night, I'd say.
You can see the other two in the background, but with these Formula Vs and what the gap is like, unless this man makes a mistake, which will cost him a lot, he has got this done and dusted. All he needs to do now in these final 5 minutes is hold on to it and ensure he doesn't make any mistakes. Get past the back markers nice and cleanly, and that's it. He is going to win this. So we'll come back to him in a bit, as of course we've got other battles to watch, but he's on an absolute mega drive tonight.
Certainly is. He has not looked back. He has looked so strong all evening long. He's going to be very, very happy with that indeed. As we jump back here to Rob Wright, the flying Canadian has sunk a little bit lower in the skies as of recent. We saw him with a really strong start. He's just been struggling in that mid part. Let's see if he can have a really strong ending to this race now. Currently 8th and with 2 positions up for grabs right in front of him.
All over the place, and now we'll find out. This is going to hold onto the system as it does currently stand. He could have been higher up earlier in this race, but we know what mistakes can get like. One mistake and you can lose a whole lot of space, which he has done so tonight. So maybe not the best result I would have hoped, but still, you cannot doubt a top 10.
Oh, definitely not. I wouldn't picture him being outside the top 10 now at this point. With the time that is left on the clock, you don't want to put a foot wrong here. You just want to bring it home now at this point. I'd imagine that is going through a lot of the drivers' heads. Maybe not so much here for Todd Going, though, because there is 4th position up for grabs, literally within arm's reach of him. And let's see if he can make a move on Sully Khan then in these closing moments. They're pretty much nose to tail as they make their way down the start-finish straight here. Back marker in the way, so that is going to help Khan neutralise that slipstream. And we're going to cut to 2nd and 3rd here. Flag and Borgström still going at it.
It looks to the inside, but of course you know how this ends up. Wheel very wide there, gonna hold to the line though, luckily enough keeping it going. Seems like it's a bit more of a good old move down the inside as you now go. AstroTurf was selected, now on the tarmac, gotta get the move done as Borgström back into P number 2. But it's going to be Christian Flack who is going to have absolutely none of it. He's going to want to be on the back of him again. Just under 1 minute of a lap time. Leader's just gone on to lap number 30. And we have got 2 minutes. We've got 2 minutes, 25 seconds left on the clock. 3 minutes, 25, I should say.
That was absolutely fantastic from Borgström. What a committed move. Couldn't have asked for anything better. Will-to-will action from the pair of them and respectful all at the same time. That is what we come to see when these people go racing. And I really want to see it happen again here. This is Christian Flag's turn now to see if he can put the move on Alexander as they make their way up to the top end of the circuit. Turns 5 and 6. This is where we saw the move a lap ago. Are we going to see anything from Christian this this time. Not going to be on this occasion. Borgström placing the car perfectly.
Right on the tip of the nose, you see that gearbox of the other car trying to make the move, but holding on to that line. He's holding it in the direct middle of the circuit. He's on an absolute drive, but this is where it's going to count now, down the main straight in the slipstream. These final minutes are coming on the clock. These drivers are going to be absolutely pushing it down into turn number 1 now. Will he dive it down the inside? Yes, he will. The American, Christian Flack, back into P number 2. Absolutely amazing between these two. But you've got to wonder now as well, is it a flip-flop game? Who wants to be leading between these on the final lap? Because who's going to have a good advantage now once again on the inside is going to be the Danish. And they're all over the place. Flip, flop, back and forth. Alexander Borgström back in the lead of this battle.
Brilliant stuff. Oh my god, I don't really know what to say about it because it's just all happening. It's all going to be on the penultimate lap here. They're about to start their final one. Has Christian Flack got anything left to make a move on the Norwegian? We're about to find out. One final lap to the checker flag. Let's see how it all unfolds.
Thank you for the correction. I don't know why I said Danish. It's right now down into turn number 1. We are going to go through it one more time for all the good times. It's Christian Flack chasing down Alexander Borgström. Rattray White is in the lead as well. He is nearly halfway through this final lap. Final lap. This battle is all over the place. And it is going to be this fight one more time, all the way through this circuit. Looks at the inside. These two are going to have an absolute fight on this final lap. It's absolutely amazing as they go over the crest. Looks at the inside as Christian Flack. He's in a P2 on the timing, but still side by side as it's all over the place. Christian Flack gets it, but we've got to put our eyes to the leader. Zach Rattray White has been on an absolute roll, and he wins here at the summit. Absolute mega drive for him in the background, in the toe. Is there anything for it? Unfortunately not. Christian Flack finishes P2 ahead of Alexander Borgström. And this is absolute fight further back as well. You got Poulin, you got Wright, you got Kapinski. It's absolute fight on this final lap.
Pure fireworks from all the drivers there. Look how close they all are as they cross the line. But my word, you got to hand it to the winner though, Rattray White. He rose to the summit this evening. What a race though from all of them out there. That was absolutely spectacular. And my word, I'm so happy to be a part of this one.
It was absolutely mega. I mean, we'll talk about it we'll talk about it once everybody crosses the line. But it's been an absolutely astounding one. Absolutely amazing. Zach Rattray White wins, followed by Christian Flack and then Alexander Borgström. And it is then Khan going and then Poulin as well. We'll go through the full classification in just a moment. And you can take us through it.
Oh, Rattray White there at the top. And thoroughly deserved that one too. He rose to the occasion, takes the win. And Christian Flack, Alexander Borgström, those two really did put on a firework display there in the closing stages. Flack come out on top though, and Borgström will have to settle for the 3rd place on that podium. Salih Khan definitely rising through as well. He managed to finish 4th with Todd going in 5th. Before we get down to Poulin 6th, Wright is 7th, Kapinski 8th, Marin 9th, and Schweining in 10th. Then we go to Tostes 11th, Thiessen in 12th, Hanley 13th, Visser 14th, James 15th, Dembowski, Babson, Marshall, Bradley and Brongers, I don't think finished that race, but you can see there 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th and 20th respectively.
Yeah, and while we wait to see if anybody will hop in for an interview, let's just talk about it. I mean, this is going to be the big one, isn't it? Like, that battle between P2 and P number 3 in the final 5 minutes. You could probably hear it in our voices. That was an absolutely amazing fight.
It was sensational. I mean, I can feel my heart pounding out my chest, and I'm not even the one driving. So I hate to think what those drivers are going through in the sort of hot seat as you were themselves. They've got to be in the beats per minute, at least nearing the 160 mark at a minimum. But yeah, brilliant stuff from the pair of them. Kept it clean, stuck their noses in, got dirty with it as well, in the sense that they got muddled in. Really good driving from the pair of them. And at this point in the season as well, I think we're just over the halfway mark when I look back at it. You've got a few drop rounds for points, but I'm sure that's really going to help them with their championship charge.
Yeah, and whilst we're on the battle, let's talk to one of the mans who was involved. Christian Flagg, you are live on Apex Racing TV. An absolutely amazing fight there at the end. Talk us through it, man, because our heart's beating out our chests. We can only imagine what it was like for you.
Oh yeah, unbelievable. I'm absolutely like my body's on edge right now. At the start of the race, I was just trying to see if we could keep up with Zach, but he had amazing pace, just blew us out of the water. Towards the end, I was thinking, okay, there was a couple of lap cars, and I saw a good opportunity to maybe make a gap when we were coming up to the lap cars, and I didn't quite make the gap that I wanted. He got back to me. He got back by me, and then about with 2 laps to go, I said, whenever I get my next opportunity, I'm going for it. I passed him into turn 1, and then he passed me back. And then on the last lap, I knew that he was struggling through that second corner, that long sweeper. So I knew I could probably get him on the inside there, and I did get the overlap. And once I was ahead of him after the right-hander, I knew I would have the position. So it was a really exciting battle. That guy was fantastic to race against.
Obviously, you mentioned it. Rattray White flew off into the distance, really, throughout that race. But it was not a bad result at all for you. Of course, it's a very different track this week compared to last week, and it's going to be even more different next week as well. So what is the plan? As I do believe, if I read it correctly, we're going back to what many will consider a normal racing circuit, rather than the ones which we have been at recently. We are going to be going to the Sebring at the club circuit. So going into next week, what do we think the plan's really going to be, especially after tonight?
I mean, you said it loud and clear. Zach is the guy to beat, so the plan is keep up with Zach. That's the main plan. I don't get to make many of these races, but when I do, yeah, that's always the plan. Just do your best to keep up with the top guys and see if I can hold on to them next week.
And we will go through this as well. Talk us through the start, because we saw on the start there was many people falling back, but it seems like you had a pretty good one. What was it like going off the line, especially when there isn't exactly a gantry around here?
I mean, not too bad at the front. At the front, it's usually pretty clear, pretty clean. I've had a lot of practice in this car, so I've gotten the starts down pretty good, and yeah, not too bad at the front, honestly.
Well, thankfully, it was a good race for you. Before we let you go, is there anybody you would like to give a thanks to?
Yeah, just thanks to everybody. Thanks to Matthias. Thanks to Sully for letting me race. See you guys.
Well, congratulations to you. P number 2 of Christian Flagg. And now, Ashley, I threw you in the deep end at the start. We'll throw you in the deep end again. We have got, and I'll let you take this one, Zach Rattray White, race winner of tonight. Take it away, Ashley.
Well, Zach, what a fantastic race you have just had. Walk us through your emotions right now.
Pretty cool, calm, collected, I guess. I didn't really have much competition in that race. But I think once you break the initial draft in this car, it's pretty smooth sailing, especially around here. When the 2 guys at the back started to battle, I guess that just made it a whole lot easier for me.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, certainly can hear that you are calm and collected. So it certainly showed out there on the racing circuit as well. Once you got to the front, you were pretty much just all on your own for the rest of it. I'll tell you what then, why don't you tell us what happened there in qualifying? Clearly, you were sort of the class of the field today. Did qualifying not quite go as planned, or were you sort of right where you thought you should be?
Yeah, it wasn't the best qualifying for me. I feel like my qualifying in other cars and series and stuff isn't too bad. But this car is just interesting on 1 lap pace. It's just the way it handles under specific corners and braking zones and whatnot. I just don't quite like it as much. I feel like once the tires get a bit hotter and everything starts to mellow out, it gets a bit easier. But qualifying is just not a strong suit for me in this car.
No, but it clearly doesn't matter, because you can quite easily get away from the grid, get to the front and don't look back. But, well then, you've clearly marked your, you put your stamp of authority on Summit Point. How are you looking when we get to Sebring next time out?
Yeah, feeling good for that one. I think I won last season there, I think, if I recall. So hopefully we can do that again. But yeah, I don't really put too much thought until it actually comes around. So yeah, we'll see.
It certainly will indeed. Confidence high. I can clearly hear it in you, Zach, whether you want to express it or not. But well done for this evening. Brilliant stuff from yourself. Is there anybody you would like to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, well, you guys for putting on the broadcast. It's really good, as always. And just the organisers for putting on the series.
Brilliant. Well, lovely. Thanks for joining us here, Zach. Congratulations on your win once again. Go enjoy your evening, and we look forward to seeing you next time out.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Well then, Ashley, looks like we are running a bit out of time, so let's go through this one real quickly. First time on the TGR Nation Grand V, what's your verdict?
Fantastic series. I hope I can come back and do it again because this has been an absolute blast. And looking at that calendar very briefly, I'm very interested by the Dirt Oval. I would love to get in on that, but we'll see how that one goes. Either way, brilliant series. Fantastic racing up and down the grid. Couldn't have asked for more.
Indeed it is. Of course, like you said, it is going to be Sebring. Same place, same time next week, and we are back to the normal racing circuit. Then we've got a Dirt Oval coming your way later this season. Absolutely amazing race tonight, as per usual. That's my verdict. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Alexa Marshall, joined by Ashley Denman, and our producer in the background has been Jim Cummings, bringing you all the camera shots that you have seen tonight. This has been the TGR Nation Grand V. We'll be back next week for Sebring. Good night.